Culturally clueless.
The Philippines is the first country to announce state of emergency because Asia is depending on all the goods that come through the Strait of Hormuz. And as we all know, at the moment, not many ships can pass. We have a 20-year-old who sued Meta and Google and made a quick $3 million. She claimed that she was allegedly addicted to YouTube and Instagram. While she was growing up, she was so much on YouTube and she spent so much time on Instagram. And there was no warning to tell her that she could get addicted to social media. So yes, she won the case. She made a 3 mil, and that case is going to probably set presidency. I'm really curious how they're going to deal with that in the future. With that said, you guys, welcome to Culturally Clueless, that place where we connect the dots, ask questions, and challenge narratives we're told to believe.
People talking loud, everybody's got a take. Scrolling through the headlines, don't know what's real or fake. Late night conversations, what's the truth we chase? World keeps changing pace, but we're all...
Assalamualaikum, you guys. I am back. I told you I'm back, and I'm going to stay back for now, okay? But let's not talk too much because I have to really... How do I say this? I gotta go, okay? I just have to be a quick one this week. Let's see how quick I can really be. And with that, I don't mean that I'm just going to rush it or just, talk some BS or not be, you know what I mean, on point with what I say. And of course, if I make a mistake, please correct me because I'm not all knowing, never claimed, never will be. I'm still learning like everybody else. I just share things that I come across, things that raise questions for me, and things that I feel like people should also know and things I want to discuss. Anyways, now I took way longer again with the intro than I actually wanted. Let's get straight into it. So I want to start with something beautiful, right? Something that, how do I say this? So I've been preaching this for the longest. I've been complaining about this for the longest. But let the video speak for itself.
This woman you see is Lailatul Ismail. She refused to feed her children products from boycott-listed brands and decided to start her own hamburger chain. It all began on an ordinary Saturday in 2024. Her young children wanted to go to McDonald's, but like many conscientious people supporting Gaza, Lailatul was boycotting brands that supported Israel. At that moment, one question came to her mind. Why should people be forced to rely on the very brands they choose to boycott? She knew that a true boycott is not only about refusing to buy something, but also about creating something better to replace it. That is how Malaysia's homegrown alternative to McDonald's, Ahmad's Fried Chicken, was born. What started with...
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Her own burger line. Like, she doesn't want to depend on these, companies and these institutions that are financing the genocides in this universe. She literally wants to do her own thing, and it's going to be much, much healthier. And I really hope that she can expand beyond borders because this is beautiful. There's more to this video, so let's take a second look.
What started with a single food truck grew into 35 branches in less than a year. The goal is clear: 110 branches by the end of 2026. Today, Lailatul is the founder of one of the fastest growing fast food chains in the country, and she is not the only one. Another local brand, Zeus Coffee, has not only challenged Starbucks' dominance but has become Malaysia's largest coffee chain with over 700 branches. While Starbucks has been shrinking, Zeus Coffee has...
I love it. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So the Zeus Coffee that is combating the existence of Starbucks and many, many other Western companies is expanding already. They have several hundred franchises, even beyond their own borders, and I find this beautiful. And this is what irked me a little bit, but I wasn't here to talk about it, about the halftime show with Bad Bunny. He did a great job and it was an amazing show. Everything was great about it. But the only thing that I feel like we don't need to be on their stages. Why are we still craving and looking for their approval? We don't need Western approval, y'all. We're good enough as we are. We can showcase, they can visit our culture, they can learn. People are always welcome to learn, especially when you're not the enemy. But why are we still, like every country, even my own country, Morocco, I go there, I find a McDonald's, I find Pizza Hut, I find, I don't know what, you know what I mean? Like I go to the Middle East and they have all the the franchises that you can imagine, like in any country, they have your H&Ms, they have your Zara's, they have your Mangoes, and all the restaurants, whether it's a cheese cake factory in Dubai. I mean, we don't care about Dubai anyways, but just saying, you know what I mean? Like, we have all of these franchises that we adopted from the West instead of creating our own. We have the creativity, we have the talent, we have the skills, and if we don't, we can learn it. But what do? We want to copy because everything is Americanized, everything is Westernized. We just want to be like them, especially the people who live in this country. They see this on the internet, they want it too. They want that experience. But I'll tell you something. Going into any type of like McDonald's or whatever in Morocco is not going to be the same like going to McDonald's in Turkey, or like going to Subway in Turkey is not going to be the same experience like going to a Subway in Germany. So as much as you guys want this Americanism and you want to get close to it, it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. And at some point, we have to value ourselves more than we value what's happening over there. We need to worry about what's happening over here. We need to make them French because they steal our fashion ideas, right? Like what they deemed as crazy with the colors or the patterns or whatever. They thought it was crazy, but all of a sudden now we find kind of like Middle Eastern, Arab, whatever, African even, inspired clothes in the shops. We find food, they cook our food, they take everything and just make it theirs somehow, some way. They start selling it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care about Dubai chocolate that much, but when I recently saw Lind, the chocolate brand Lind has Dubai chocolate, I'm like, I can't. You know what I mean? This is insane. They just take it and they just make it theirs. What we do is take theirs and be like, oh my God, we got that too. This is amazing. We're so Americanized. No, we don't need that. We're good as we are, and we need to stop craving their approval. Of course, we're going to talk about Iran a little bit, of course, this week, because it's still ongoing. There's still a lot of talk, a lot of, yapping from Donald Trump, the 48 hours, the 5 days, all of that. Oh, he wants to make a deal. Oh, he received a gift that Iran gave him. It's worth a lot of money, but he's not going to say what it is. You guys, oh my gosh, this is pure headache. So I'm going to tell you what, there is no negotiations, and this is what Iran is saying. Let's listen to this.
Professor Marandi, yesterday Donald Trump suddenly came out and he said, after issuing an ultimatum of 48 hours that he's going to attack the infrastructure, power grids in Iran, then he said he's going to extend that to 5 days because there are negotiations going on between Iran and the United States, and the negotiations are so positive and there's heading. What has happened, and what is your understanding of what Donald Trump is doing?
There are no negotiations, and there are no plans for negotiations. So that is just propaganda. He said this 1 hour before the markets opened.
Yeah, and I think this man is on point. He is just buying time, right? We do know that Islamabad, Pakistan is offered to host peace talks, and they want to try something. Egypt got involved, in Turkey even. They're all trying to make it happen where the countries sit down and talk. But can you sit down with America at the same table? They tried it before and they still got attacked, right? They tried it, they got attacked. So why should they? By all means, like, why should they? Let's hear some more of what this smart man had to say.
And he accepted 5 days. And surprise, surprise, the 5 days ends after the markets close on Friday. So it's clear that he's trying to manipulate the market to keep the price of energy down. But there are no negotiations. Also, I think he's very concerned, fearful that Iran, if he starts targeting Iran's vital infrastructure, notice that no media outlet in the West is screaming that these are crimes against humanity. None of them. His opponents don't say that. And it just shows how corrupt the West is, how corrupt Western media is, how corrupt Western institutions are, how corrupt Western elites are. Just like now in
Yes, Iran has conditions, right? They have conditions. They say, hey, we want the full control of the Strait of Hormuz, right? We'd want a ceasefire and no aggression from Israel or America ever again. We want that definitely, not just put in paper. We want this to, I don't know, engrave on stones or whatever, but they want no aggression anymore in Lebanon, no aggression anymore in themselves, rightfully so, right? This man is talking about how they what they done with Venezuela and Cuba. You know what the funny part is? Nobody actually talks about Ecuador. Ecuador is also a place that they're very much got their not only eyes on but hands on as well. And all of the shortages of the fertilizers, the gas, the oil, the chemicals that have hardly any kind of like way to get through the Strait of Hormuz. Because yeah, Iran struck deals with countries. If you are not with the enemy, if you're not using this for the enemy, yes, of course, come through and pay us, basically, right? So this is their condition. They want the control of Strait of Hormuz, and they also like don't touch our sovereignty, right? So what is Trump really doing? Is he actually escalating this? Yes, he manipulated the market. Yes, he doesn't want the oil price gas price went down for a little bit, and then everything else went up, the stocks, whatnot. But how long can you really do this for? And then they also say it takes 5 days for new troops to arrive to the Middle East. So what are they doing? Are they actually going with boots on the ground now? Iran said they're waiting for it. And I don't understand. I don't understand. For the life of me, I haven't found anyone to explain to me, why is it okay for certain countries to have nukes and for others not? Especially for Iran. They can't have it. And they had actually a fatwa from 2004 where it was deemed haram to even have that. But, honestly, why not? Why not? Why can't they have it? Now that there is the son of Khamenei, Mustafa Khamenei, in charge. And by the way, like a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe he's in coma. He like rumor has it, and we talked about it last week. But I was wondering, right? What about if he doesn't want to be seen? What about if he is hiding somewhere very, very well? What if he says it's not time yet? What if he doesn't want to give them any idea where he could possibly be so they don't take him out? It's just a thought. You guys, Tucker Carlson, he's been all over the place, right? He's been to the Middle East. He's done his interviews with archbishops from Jerusalem. He spoke to so many different people, but he also sat down with Abraham Burke, a former Knesset speaker, and for an Israeli. And I'm going to say it how it is. I don't care how prejudiced it sounds. I really don't. He was actually really honest. Check this.
The same strategy that Israel has for years, no strategy. In Israel, in many, many cases, the compilation of many tactics sometimes assemble into a de facto strategy, but otherwise nothing. I mean, just look at the last 2 hours. When was the announcement of the president? The surprising one 2 hours ago. And you have a bundle of messages coming from all directions. The first and the most important one, hallelujah, they're going to renew the flights so we can go for.
That is crazy. Like, we didn't know. You don't have to be a pro, expert, or specialist in geopolitics to really know Israel does not know what they're doing. All they're after is destruction and assassination. Take out whoever, destroy whoever. This is, that child that plays with your child on the playground or is in the same school or kindergarten and is like really destructive and is hitting and biting all the children and like has this heavy hand, like as soon as they touch something, it's broken. Those kind of kids, that's how Israel is. Destroy and assassinate. This is so wild. And then yet it's really crazy. Like, I don't understand. They scream all day. We want peace. We are the victims. And look what has been done to us. And look what they're doing to us. And we're scared and we can't and this and that. I make too much noise. Oh my gosh. You guys are going to kill me again. I'm sorry. All of this. What for? What for? When you are the aggressor, it's crazy how the aggressor always screams louder than the victims. When you hear somebody speak loud, just make sure that you're not mistaken the aggressor with the victim here. Okay? He had more to say.
Go for Passover vacation. That's the immediate reaction of many Israelis, my daughter included. The second,
Finally, we have honesty. You guys, I don't even know what to say. This guy was even a little bit too honest. Check this out.
The second is, Netanyahu knew altogether. I mean, Netanyahu is behind the move, as if framing it as his own move. And then, Trump, he is so softy. He's so weak. He doesn't have any resilience. The Iranians, they trick him, etc., etc., etc. Bottom line is nobody has a clue. And in this chaos, the military does what it does the best. Simply hammer the nail.
I don't know how to take this. He just said like Israelis, all they care about is, did they open the flight, like the airport again? Is the airspace open? Can we fly out? Can we go on vacation for Passover? He said, including his daughter, right? This is what I find so crazy. I don't know how to take it. Are they really that unbothered? Or are they really like, because I see them crying in the bunkers. At least they have some, because what they call Israeli Arabs, the Palestinians, the 48ers, they don't have bunkers. It's very discriminatory over there, but of course they are the only democracy in the Middle East, right? And he also says that, Netanyahu framed his move while denying it's his move. Of course, I mean, look, Marco Rubio said it. Israel made us do it. And then they tried to retract ever since. Even Netanyahu comes out and says, this is to say that Israel is just like absurd and it's ridiculous. But he said for 40 years, he was dreaming of this moment, of this collaboration with America to attack Iran. So yeah, it sounds pretty much like this is something that you wanted. This is something that you kind of like influenced, made happen. Very much so. Very, very much so. There was a few more things that he said where we could tell, this whole like speaking in I can do this, and I said we're gonna destroy the nukes and blah blah blah, and we did it. Like, so yes, it seems quite much that you are boss over here when it comes to America, at least. Insane. And then we have Tulsi Gabbard, right? She's the head of the Intelligent Counter Center, where Joe Kant last week resigned, right? And she is his boss, and she had no idea. And she is still doubling down. This woman is still doubling down. Listen to this. This is insane.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime.
So the senator is asking her, and she's saying that they don't have nuclear. And this is the intelligence assessment of her department, of what she is the head of, okay? She's the head of this, right? And the assessment came back with no imminent threat from Iran, right? But yet she's saying, no, I can't say that. It's not my call. Let's listen to some more.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False.
And
This
he
is the
made that
worldwide. This is the
determination.
worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence
So
community's
again,
assessment.
Obama had negotiated this deal, right? Where he said, oh yeah, we made a deal now, we negotiated and whatnot, they're not gonna have nukes. Every country, whether it's a Pakistan, whether it's in Israel, whether it's in America, whether it's France, any country can have nukes except Iran. That is so crazy to me. And despite they had the fatwa, I don't know if the fatwa is actually going to remain in place or not. We don't know that, but let's listen more to this lying woman.
Community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president based on a volume
No,
of
it is
information
precisely
that he receives.
It is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing where
So she is insisting, doubling down, y'all, tripling down, quadrupling down, that only the president can determine whether it's an imminent threat. But this is so weird. At this point, I really want to know, who are they employing? Is this nepotism? What is happening? Like, I understand, right? And you guys figured it out in the comments last week, made me laugh. Yeah, we have a reality guy that is running America, one of the biggest powers in the world. All right. We have all type of like people running countries now these days. I mean, yeah, I am going to question, does this woman actually know what she's employed for? Did she read her job description at this point? She is exactly supposed to do that. Determine and assess through intelligence and whatever means she has available, right, to do so, whether any country is threatening your country, which is her country, right? But apparently she can't do it. So what is the intelligence center for, may I ask? Because I really want to understand that. And then we have more lies, you guys. So I don't understand. That's why I said from the beginning, I don't believe all of this. I don't believe when a country says one thing and they're going to do another, right? This is like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like thinking in English, but speaking in Chinese or whatever. Like, it's so different things. So in the beginning, like in the beginning, I mean, of course, in the beginning, Keir Starmer made this whole thing, oh, the UK is not going to get involved and blah, blah, blah. You know, I guess just to calm down the people. And maybe the UK really didn't want to get involved. But then he said, okay, y'all can use the basis for defense operations. So basically intercept Iranian missiles when they come our way to protect British interests, also in the UAE and wherever, you know what I mean? They also have a base in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken, that Iran attacked last week. So yes, they said for defense, right? But what happened after? Let's have a look.
The UK has extended its approval for the US to use its air bases to launch strikes on Iranian sites targeting the crucial waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. Let's go live to Westminster and to our correspondent Nick Eardley. And Nick, let's be clear, this is an expansion of what the UK is allowing the US to do.
Yeah, Rita, since the first weekend of the war, the UK has allowed the US to use its bases for so-called defensive operations, attacks on Iranian missile sites designed to protect British interests and allies such as the United Arab Emirates. Tonight, after a meeting earlier of...
You guys, this is it. This is what I mean. You see, like, it's insane. It's really insane. First they say this, and now they are granting them to use them to launch attacks. That's why I say this is all like, you know, to calm the masses and then, you know, feed them bit by bit, like you feed good sheep who are not going to complain if you're not going to make it too difficult for them to swallow. So give them bit by bit. This is crazy. Of course, we're going to touch on Lebanon, right? There's still a lot of attacks going on, and how the IDF are trying to come more into the country, take over more of the south. They also announced that they're going to attack civilian infrastructure, which they have, right? They have. The Lathani River, I never know how to pronounce the river, the Lathani River, or Latani. I don't really know how to pronounce it properly, but remember that video that we had and that what we talked about last week of the two journalists from RT who were attacked, and they were on the bridge. They were literally on one of those bridges over the Latani River. And these bridges are very important because it is, again, infrastructure, because a lot of the goods get brought from one side of the country to the other side of the country. And these demons blew them up. There is no more rivers. I mean, no more bridges, right? They contaminated the water in the river. This is the drinking water. And the funny part is they actually get water from Lebanon too if they don't have water in Israel anymore because of Iran blowing up their desalination plants or whatever. You know what I mean? So anywho, they blew up these bridges. But the thing is, you can't tell people about their own countries. They know their ways in and out. They know how to get from A, B, C to D, E, F, and M, N, O, and V, whatever, V, W, X when they need to. So yes, you can blow up the bridges, but they still destroyed Merkaba tanks, plenty. They still taken a lot of losses. They taken a lot of else. The only democracy in the Middle East, right? Because the resistance, they are firing, and they are doing also the groundwork. Now, these, what's very sad though, with the situation with the bridges in particular, and many, many other more because of all the attacks, right? The paramedics have a very hard time reaching to people that are injured, people in need. Let's check this out.
The ambulance workers in Nabatea have had to change their way of working because they feel they're coming under so many attacks and so many of them are suffering injuries or casualties. They now delay going to an emergency scene by sometimes 4 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, so that they avoid what has become a pattern of double taps, where the second strike waits for the emergency workers to arrive at the scene before another strike comes in and ends up injuring and killing the emergency workers. But they say that does have an impact, obviously, on the expectations of...
And that's what we're saying. Are they not supposed to defend themselves? Yes, they're going to fire back, because Lebanon has been under attack in so many different ways, in so many different times. And this fake ceasefire that was never a ceasefire, I mean, Come on now, you guys. They're going to have to defend themselves. They're going to have to fire back by all means necessary. You destroy their bridges, you destroy their homes, if you force them to evacuate, force them to live in tents, force them to live outside in shelters wherever, hardly have any food, anything, and they're not supposed to defend themselves. I don't understand. Somebody explain. And what I love about what Lebanon done, again, they opened up for the journalists in the south. I think it was a sit in Baalbek. So the journalists, international and national journalists, can come and see and report. Remember, they done this when they said, I think it was in 2024, when the only democracy in the West claimed that they had Hezbollah infrastructure in the airport, and they had their military equipment hidden in the airport, and they had their stash there, you know what I mean? And then what Lebanon done, they invite the journalists to come to the airport and showed them around. Hey, there is nothing here, or if you find anything, let us know. And they done the same again. They're not scared to allow journalists, international journalists, to come in and report, right? Unlike the only journalists, or only times international journalists could visit Gaza was under the guidance of the IDF, and only in places the IDF deem good enough. So we have a complete media blackout, in the sense of almost complete media blackout in the only democracy in the Middle East, because they don't want to show the destruction and what the Iranian missiles are doing to them. They don't want to show it. So yes, we do get videos, we get because people do upload, though they're very strict on, because if they get caught, they said it's going to be it's not going to be a walk in a park. You guys, something I wanted to talk about from a while ago is the Gaza Peace Board. We really have to talk about it, okay? But let's watch first.
It's diplomacy, but not as we know it. This is Donald Trump's Board of Peace. In a building now bearing his name, they posed with the president.
Does everybody like the music? Yeah, it's a perfect song. That's good music.
It's an eclectic panel of men, mostly the world's strong men. Canada's invitation was revoked. The UK, France and Germany politely declined.
Almost everybody's accepted, and the ones that haven't will be. Some are playing a little cute. It doesn't work. You can't play cute with me.
Some weren't sure about the freebies. Others were delighted to find themselves seated at this table.
So I don't know about y'all, but I find it extremely tasteless. I find this extremely tasteless. The building holds his name. He's posing there. Do you guys like the music? You know what I mean? It's disgusting. Tasteless. That's the right word. Let's watch some more.
Virtually everyone is the head of a country other than Johnny, but he's the head of soccer, so that's not so bad, right, Johnny?
This body is part of the US peace plan for Gaza, set up to oversee reconstruction.
The war in Gaza is over. It's over. There are little flames.
But the Board of Peace met amid talk of war. Intense speculation that a US strike on Iran could be imminent.
Iran is a hot spot right now. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Some fear
this Gaza Peace Board consists of 6 members, right? 6 board members. There is Trump, who's the chairman for life, that is. So even if he's done being a president, if he was impeached, if he got kicked out, if he made it to the end, he is going to be at this peace board or Gaza. Board of Peace. It just sounds disgusting to me. Gaza Board of Peace. What the hell? What peace? After all of this destruction and no, okay. Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. So yeah, Trump is the chairman. Marco Rubio, Jared Kushner, Tony Blair. People have nerve, bro. Like he's got the nerve to actually resurface. A guy called Marco Rowan, and he is running Apollo Management Global, which is a big player, big company, and of course the envoy Steve Witkoff, right? So this is a private sector lead alternative to the UN, basically, and these 6 make the board members, right? And this is set up as a private treasury model like the UN and the World Bank, for example, and similar organizations. And to be part of it, to actually get a seat at the table, you have to pay $1 billion. So let's see. The very first order or executive order that Mr. Trump signed, oh my gosh, I have a hiccup, I can't. It's executive order 14275, and he signed it in January. And this is giving the board immunity, legal privileges, tax exemption, and like the UN pretty much, okay? And here are the countries that actually paid the $1 billion already. So it's Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kazakhstan. That was a bit surprising. Qatar, of course. Shamefully, I gotta say, my country, Morocco, Kuwait, Bahrain, Azerbaijan. Yeah. And if you think they're happy with the $1 billion, you're mistaken. $10 million are coming from all of you guys in the US, all of your tax money. Some of it is going to accumulate $10 million, and it's going to be used for this. And again, Donald Trump is the chairman for life, and he has the rights to run it how he wants to, right? He can renew things, he can change things, he can switch it up, modify things, whatever he wants to do, dissolve, whatever he wants to do, it's on him, okay? And what they're doing is they're banking everything money-wise, infrastructure-wise, when it comes to money and funds, on a stabilized coin. So you guys know he got his own coin, and this is going to be the coin that is going to be used. Okay, this is the coin of choice that they're going to make whatever transactions with and payments and however they're paying themselves, right? So literally everything is digital money here. Okay, the UAE bought 40% of that coin way before, actually not way before, no, I think it was a week before he made office last year. And so that was millions already paid out, and this is what they call a Gaza relief package, right? They have 200 hotels that they're planning, 400,000 homes that they're planning. And when we talk about homes, right, I'm not saying this is all homes for the people in Gaza to live in. No. These are residential homes, but also vacation homes. Remember the Riviera plan that they had, like Little Dubai and all of that? Remember? And they even have their own military, the ISF. Sounds like RSF, right? Equally disgusting, probably. International Stabilization Force. Oh, wow, right? And this is going to be led by a U.S. Major Commander, Jasper Jeffries III, right? He's big boss over there. He's going to lead all of this. And they have pledges from 20,000 soldiers already pledged, right? And 12,000 police. And mainly these people are coming from Indonesia, Jordan, and Egypt. And by the way, Egypt is training the police force, okay? They are planning an army base in Gaza over 350 acres. It's a 5,000 personnel base that they want to have there in such a small place where people just want to live. They just want to live. Life before October 7 was not great in Gaza, by far not. But if they can only get it back, and I'll say it again, this goes past his presidency. It's not like he finishes being president and then he's stepping off that board. No, this is a lifetime. Press can be triggering. Paparazzis can be annoying. Reporters can be annoying. Trust me, I've been there. I've done it. I know. I lived it. I live it still sometimes. But yeah, okay. Now, Algeria. Yeah, right. Al Jazeera journalists were indeed, how do I say this? Kind of like attacked in London. Let's watch.
Now you can go. Go take your briefcase, go take your Al Jazeera equipment and go. No one needs Al Jazeera. No one wants Al Jazeera over here. Yes, but the people you work for. The people you work for. The people you work for. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you work for.
Motives.
Of course.
You represent an entity that has questionable motives and by association.
Or you will be moved.
No. Don't be violent. It was deemed as a anti-Semitic attack, right? Burning 4 ambulances, Jewish ambulances, what is indeed disgusting. We do not stand for this whatsoever, but there's more to the story. Let's watch a little bit more how these people feel so triggered by Al Jazeera personnel.
امشي من هون يا حمار.
I'm calm.
لا امشي من هون. امشي من هون يا حمار يا كلب. يا كلب روح من هون. روح من هون. لا مالو. أنا لا خمر. أنت خمر. أنا خمر. I'm walking.
They're doing the most. They are doing the most. You gotta give them that. They know how to victimize themselves. They know it so well. And then they want to look like they're like so strong. Al Jazeera off our streets, like even the police is telling them, bro, they're just reporting. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. Oh, they're reporting for terrorists. Oh, your organization. Oh, you're reporting for terror. What is terrorists supposed to do? What quote unquote terrorists supposed to do with reporting of an anti-Semitic attack? What was deemed an anti-Semitic attack, the burning of 4 ambulances. Okay. And guess what, you guys? This is very interesting. So this happened, right? But also this month, a synagogue in Liège in Belgium was kind of like attacked. Okay. There was a Jewish school in Amsterdam that was attacked. There was a synagogue in Rotterdam that was also attacked. And all of this happened in March 2026. Okay. March is coming to an end now. So within 4 weeks, right? And there is one particular group, HAYI, okay? Harakat As-Sabr Yamin Islamiyya. That's what they call themselves. They're the new kids on the block, y'all. They just came to the forefront this month as well. And they basically claim responsibility for all of these attacks, all of these anti-Semitic attacks on Jewish institutions, right? From London to Liège from London to Belgium to Holland, right? So they're the new guys on the block claiming all the anti-Semitic attacks. Interesting. If I could only believe it. All of this happened in March. I mean, you guys been doing this kind of like false flag attack all the time, false flag anti-Semitism attacks all the time. And at the same time, this new group comes up and they have so low quality propaganda online and everything is low quality about them, and you want us to believe. But I tell you what. what's really sad about this is that it diminishes completely. It completely diminishes the meaning of anti-Semitism. And when real attacks happen, nobody's going to believe, and that is sad. That is really sad. We got to talk about Ghana, you guys. Yes, Ghana. Ghana is somewhat a sellout. Like many other countries, I keep saying Africa, unfortunately, has too many puppets. If there weren't so many puppets, African puppets, we wouldn't have many problems on the continent, to be honest. Ghana signed the first EU deal. Okay, let's watch.
Ghana and the European Union on Tuesday signed their first formal defense partnership as the country presents itself as a regional bulwark against the growing jihadist violence roiling West Africa. The agreement signed in Accra by EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas and Ghanaian Vice President Jane Nana Opoku Agemang is aimed at strengthening cooperation in areas including counterterrorism, intelligence sharing, and crisis response. It comes as coastal West Africa nations seek to prevent a spillover of violence from the neighboring Sahel, where armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group have intensified attacks in recent years. The agreement built on a broader $54 million EU support package delivered since 2023, which has included
Yes, they're calling it a growing jihadi movement. It's again pertaining to the Sahel, because the Sahel region, right, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, they kicked out the French. They kicked out the West, right? And they've been attacked ever since. There is still all this proxy wars going on in Mali. There are so many attacks with Al-Qaeda linked groups and whatnot in Burkina Faso. There is so much destabilization. They're not going to leave these countries alone because they want what they feel belongs to them, which are the resources. And now it's very sad to see when you have an African country that was also colonized working with them. Ghana is pledging allegiance to EU because they want to for the region's security because of the Sahel. I get it. We all want security and they deserve security now, but they get in this intelligence things for them. And of course, what is going to happen? What does Ghana have to do in return? Share the intelligence, share the information. What have you found out? What have you worked? So they actually have people, locals, right? Locals to Africa work for them. And that is very sad. You guys, we're going to stay in Africa and we're going to go to Kenya. This is so insane, right? There is a huge real estate project going on in an area that was kind of like had problems because there was a dam that collapsed in 2018 and the people whose homes were completely destroyed and, have issues, they cannot get any compensation from the state. But exactly in that place, there is somebody who came over from a whole different place, right? And had this crazy idea, hey, I want to start a real estate project here. Let's watch.
This Israeli developer is building a controversial real estate project in Kenya.
We want people who come to live with us and live our dream together with us.
And people across Kenya are outraged.
Africa is getting recolonized. That's a fact.
Is Kenya losing land to Israel? Colonial Israel is getting ready to enter the fray.
The developer says he wants Israelis to come to Kenya and create an agricultural community with Kenyans.
We want to bring the dream of a community between Israeli teenager and Kenyan teenager.
How did you identify this land?
I think God brought me here.
But this Kenyan lawyer who wrote about the plan says many in the country feel it dredges up memories of when Kenya was a British colony.
To see new people
Yes, you guys, and Kenyans are not happy about it. They don't want the Israelis to come there and take over. They don't want that. Why don't they want that? Because it's kind of like giving colonialism. You know what I mean? You can sell us your agriculture idea all you want to. And you want like a Israeli Kenyan community and you want the teenagers to play together. Really? You out of all people. Kenyans are not happy. He's calling it a dream. These people are so self-centered, is insane, right? And let me tell you something. They say, okay, you know what? Kenya is going to feed itself, blah, 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 blah. Let's do this agriculture. And you know what? I'll tell you something. Israelis were never good when it comes to agriculture. They uproot olive trees to plant them somewhere else, or they just burn them because they don't know the meaning. It doesn't mean anything to them. But they bring pine trees from somewhere else in the world, and pine trees don't do well in that climate. So fires start. Incredible big fires start because of them being so incredibly ignorant that they feel the need to bring their own trees, and they must adapt. Even the trees must adapt. I dare the trees to start fires. You know what I mean? This is insane.
See new people coming in, buying large tracts of land, reawakens that feeling of dispossession. And then the added drama of it being an Israeli person in the midst of the genocide.
Many Kenyans learned about the 520-acre land development project when the Israeli investor was interviewed on a Kenyan TV show. The show normally features Kenyan stories, but this episode featured his pitch to sell residential and vacation homes on land he says will include a school, a mall, infinity pools, and even zip lines.
These are up for grabs. You can have your home here.
You can have it here. This is a piece of dream.
For many, anger stems
Israelis were never good when it comes to agriculture. They always brought people to the Palestinians did it when the Palestinians don't work anymore, are not allowed to work anymore, and especially after October 7th. Remember, you guys, they brought in like Indian people, they brought in African people from, was it? Oh my gosh, what was the country again? Oh my God. I have it, it's in Malawi? Was it Malawi? Yeah, I think it was Malawi. And then they had to send them back because apparently the work wasn't good enough. Now they said, hey, let's do this agriculture thing in Kenya and learn from them so we can teach our people. The Kenyans don't like it though. They don't. So let's watch a little bit more.
Anger stems from where this project is located. A privately owned dam in this very region collapsed in 2018. The flooding killed dozens and displaced thousands.
For years, they tried to seek compensation from the government, but there was radio silence. The next thing that we hear about Solai is the settlement, 520 acres and a foreigner.
Jahira says the controversy around the plan also brought to light a little-known fact about Kenyan history.
In the past, before settling on Palestinian land, one of the options considered was Uganda and Kenya.
This is giving colonialism vibes. Again, Kenyans are still not recovered from the British colonization that they endured. And now there's somebody else. Plus they have this William Ruto guy who is a straight up puppet for the West. And now he wants to give in one more time, right? And it's not little. It's not little, but the people in the Kenyans, they know. They don't want the Israeli with the bad taste of genocide, okay? They don't want all of this. They don't want all of this also because of this scheme that was going on. You know what I mean? Like back then, before the British decided to go for Palestine. And they say it even here. They say there was the Kenya-Uganda scheme, and now they come in like they're doing this in Argentina. Remember, you guys, we talked about it, how they burning land so to make it cheaper to be sold, right? And they're changing the laws over there. They bought land in Cyprus. Now they're coming to Kenya. This is absolutely insane. 520 acres big. That's this whole project, right? And there's going to be residential homes again, vacational homes. Okay, so vacation homes, all right? Infinity pools, zip lines, and even a mall. Let's watch some more.
Kenya.
It's true. In 1904, the Zionist Congress sent a commission to explore Kenya as an option for Jewish settlement.
Before the British decided to finally pick Palestine.
Today, Kenya actually has strong ties to Israel. The Kenyan government has been one of Israel's closest partners in Africa for decades. Israel has trained the Kenyan army, and Kenyan authorities have used Israeli security technology to spy on activists.
Israel then becomes the face of oppression for Kenyans. We would probably be one of those countries to provide the avenue, together with Somaliland and their recognition, for Israel to establish more bases here. And so it cannot therefore be said that a land ownership can be innocuous when we juxtapose it with all these other actions that we feel Israel is responsible for in the country.
While it may be true that for
As I said, you guys, unfortunately, Kenya is a sellout, and I don't think that he's going to change because Kenya and Israel, they did have ties over the years. They have very close ties. Like the Kenyan army was actually trained by Israel, which is crazy, right? They also get security tech from them to spy, right, on activists, for example. Yeah. That says it all, pretty much. That says it all. And then this gives, and how they say it as well, that was my first thought, to be honest. Okay, Somaliland, and now they want another base in Kenya. Interesting. What's more interesting is they already had something similar going on in 2014. So Kenya signed the deal with Israel in 2014, okay, with an Israeli company, I should say. And the goal was a 1 million acre agriculture to feed Kenya themselves, right? But they only managed 500 acres, and then allegedly it wasn't beneficial to continue, beneficial for the Kenyan taxpayer, that is, okay? So 5 years later, the contract was terminated. And despite that, you know, only half of the goal was achieved, then Kenya had to pay the loan. And now they're back. They're back and they want a 25-year lease, right, for this so-called project. And mind you guys, they paid, the project in 2014, what they signed, they paid 108 million, okay? 108 million. That is 22 bags of maize per acre. That is a lot of money, right? And even after that, right, when the deal was over and it didn't work the way it was supposed to, blah, 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 and Kenya still had to pay the loan because, you know, that part, they're not going to go away without getting their full money, whether they delivered the full, you know, amount of what was agreed on or not. They want their money. You better don't mess with them. And even the puppet, William Ruto, called it a scam. And now they're back 7 years later with something similar. You guys, we stay in Nigeria, and I'm not a feminist. I can not agree with what feminism is today, so I kindly decline and keep myself to myself. But I still have to say, women, we still are forced to do masculine chores and be masculine sometimes, whether we want to or not. And this is exactly what has been happening in Nigeria, in a city called Jos. Let's watch.
It belonged to men patrolling the streets. As crime and religious tensions surged within the community, the women decided they could no longer wait for men to protect them, as well as using dialogue to...
So this group of women, they are patrolling the streets of Jos because of the ongoing crime rate that was really going up too much, and they couldn't cope with it anymore. So they got ready, trained themselves up, and started patrolling the streets, right? There was conflicts between, like, inter-religious conflict, there was conflict, you know, drug use and different type of things. But these women said, no, we're not going to rely on men because they're not going to have our back. For whatever reason, they said we're going to do it ourselves, right? And that's what's been happening. So that's
dialogues to diffuse situations. They're aiming to mend strained ties between Christian and Muslim communities. Yoram Bashtika has this.
Fully drilled and ready for action, these women aren't members of the military, but part of an all-female vigilante group operating in the Nigerian city of Jos. For years, the area was plagued by rampant crime, drug use, and frequent inter-religious clashes, leading Blessing Emmanuel to put together this team composed equally of Christian and Muslim women.
If our children can work together to do crime,
and they can work together to take drugs. We too can work together to see that people maintain peace.
The difference, though, these women, they don't want to fight. They want the conversation, right? They don't want to go out there and pretend like they're a hawk or whatever. They just want to diffuse with dialogue, okay? And I'm just wondering, where the men at? Where are all the men in 2026? Why are they not doing this? So this group of women consisting of Christian women, Muslim women, they're all working together so much for there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Yes. So these women been patrolling the streets. They've been having dialogue, apparently. And it seems like the streets of Jos are indeed becoming safer. That is absolutely amazing. Wow. Kudos to them.
Armed only with sticks and flashlights, the women set off at nightfall to patrol the neighborhood's dimly lit streets. A dangerous job that was once reserved for men and which regularly sees the vigilantes confronted by drug dealers and armed criminals. But these women aren't using force to threaten or intimidate. Instead, they aim to diffuse situations through dialogue. A difficult but necessary approach to move beyond the area's long history of sectarian violence. In 2001, 2008, and 2010, deadly clashes between Christian
The next
and Muslim...
topic, you guys, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. This is definitely a trigger warning worthy. It's about child abuse, something that's been going on for too long, and it's going on all over the place. And I don't know if it's me, but it seems like it's getting more. I don't know if this been reported more, but it's getting crazier and more. And yeah, I have an idea why this is reported more. Let's take a look at this video, at this report.
She's a child that confirmed the leopard shorts and purple gel shoes. Tell them to let me talk.
Well, a total of 7 people are now in custody in connection to a child trafficking case involving an underground bunker in Bibb County. Some of the suspects are the children's own parents, and authorities say more victims may still be out there. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson has more details, and we want to warn you, you may find it disturbing.
It's a case investigators say they'll never forget.
There's so many arrests been made for child trafficking and whatnot, and it's just like not stopping. It's not stopping, it seems. It's getting more, as I said.
Yet, children drugged and tied up, taken underground into a bunker where strangers paid to abuse them. 10 children so far have been identified, the youngest just 3 years old, the oldest 15. Most of them are under the age of 10, and investigators fear there are more victims and suspects still unaccounted for. Investigators say the children were sexually abused in what was described as appointments paid for by offenders.
And all these bunkers and tunnels. Remember the tunnels in Jersey where they had all these weird things going on, and now they are hiding here in bunkers and tunnels as well. It's absolutely wild to me to drug a 3-year-old, right, and tie them up, and it seems so normalized these days, right? So normalized also with this whole Epstein. And you know, this is why I do believe that this is part of the desensitization. Oh my God. Here we go again. Desensitizing plan. This is part of it, right? To desensitize us so it becomes the norm. We don't feel anything because we hear it all the time, and we hear the craziest things all the time. So it becomes normal. And then MAP, this minor attraction people, becomes a thing. One more part I have of this, you guys. Yeah, I can believe this is definitely organized trafficking. Parents involved. This is the wildest thing. The parents involved, I really wonder, I would really love to have a conversation with these parents who are selling off their children to monsters.
Offenders. Some of the people who were supposed to protect them were the ones handing them over. Law enforcement believe this wasn't just a local crime. It was part of an organized human trafficking network. possibly linked to a violent gang.
You guys, I want to close out with this project that is very close and dear to my heart, and I hope I can find the right words to even explain it. But before I get into details about it, let's watch the video.
Adira is a light that guides us and a dream that blossoms. Adira School is a community educational initiative established on 20 of May 2025 in Al-Mawasi, Khan Younis, in response to the increasing needs of children affected by the war in the Gaza Strip, especially those who have been cut off from education since the beginning of the aggressions. Our mission is to provide safe, high quality, and psychologically supportive education for all the groups.
Ahmed is a father who was desperately in need to have some type of way to get his children educated because they've been missing out for the past 2 years and that can't run. So he started educating them. He tried to make most of what he can with what he had, and he's not a professional, but then the neighbors found out and more people found out, and the project got bigger, right? He wasn't ready for it. It was never his intention. Now he has about 500 children that he puts up in a few tents. He has certified teachers, and he even managed to legitimize the school by getting real paperwork, meaning when the children graduate, they will have certificates. Okay? They will really have graduation papers that they can, inshallah, live a beautiful life in Gaza or wherever they want. If that ain't resilience, I don't know what is. Now, this Adira School project is a very, very important project, not only to me, but many, many more who are indeed working with us to make this work and make this happen, right? We have an NGO from the UK, Young Lives Matter Global. We have other beautiful people that are putting things together. And we also need your guys' help. So if you're interested in helping and supporting Adira School, if you want to support a student or something, reach out, let me know. I will definitely provide more info for this. But you guys, education is everything. Education is the key to the future. Let's watch a little bit more of the video before we close out.
The groups. We offer free education for orphans and collect only symbolic fees from other students. The school provides strong foundational programs alongside recreational activities and psychosocial support programs that promote learning and mental well-being.
I'm Hadid. I'm 10 years old. I'm from Palestine. I live in Khan Younis. I lost my family, my father, my brother, and my sister. I live now just with my mother and my little sister Sarah. The Adira School took me in and let me learn for free.
And that's how beautiful they are. Absolutely beautiful. That's all I have, you guys. That's all I have, you guys. I really hope all of you enjoyed this episode. Please engage in the comments. I see you guys next week. And I gotta get out of here now. So, salam alaikum and peace out.
But I'm trying to find answers in the chaos, peace inside my mind. Life's a tangle web, I'm just passing.